Good morning everyone. So today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how to make this top. There is one part where you do measure the gauge, and that is the part on the back here. So I will show you that right before we get started. A little bit of information about what you need for this pattern is I did use 4-weight yarn. I did use acrylic because that's what I had, but since it's summer I would recommend maybe using an acrylic cotton blend or a cotton rayon blend. Definitely a cotton blend, as pure cotton is more drapey and the holes would be much more visible. And as you can see, this is quite a mesh top, and unless you're going to wear something under it, you kind of want to make sure that you are covered, unless you are somewhere where that maybe doesn't matter. I did use I almost called it Little Twist. I did use Little Twist white just because that's what I grabbed. I used Big Twist yarns on this, but I ran out of this pink, so I don't know what color it is. I'm pretty sure you can still buy Big Twist at Michael's, but this time in the tutorial I'm going to be using this brown from Red Heart, and this one, let me see if I can find the color, Cafe Latte. And this isn't my favorite yarn to use, but it is a softer Red Heart skein. Some skeins are really scratchy. If I had to recommend the perfect yarn, if you do want to have cheap options and go with acrylic, I would recommend I Love this yarn. It's just very squishy, bouncy, and the twist is really high in this yarn, so the stitches look much more defined when worked up. The reason I'm not using this one is because I wanted a more pastel-y brown, so that's what I'm going with. But you can see this is definitely not a beginner friendly pattern. I did sew bows on individually. You can choose to omit this little scallop here. I just thought it made a nicer transition into the mesh netting. And then on the back here, the reason why gauge matters is because if you have a wider rib cage, you will need to make more rows here than what I had in the pattern. And so we are going to have to go with the gauge for that, and I will tell you how much I chained for this small one, but I would recommend chaining more. So this has not been blocked yet, so all measurements are going to be before blocking. And the gauge for this, it is worked this way, it is worked out, and then we do this last. I'm not going to count the holes for the lacing when I measure this, and I'm going to count by chains worked. So right here I'm going to go over 3 of those chains, so it's about, oh sorry, my eyes are losing focus, 1 2 3, so I would say around 2.5 inches for 3 of the chain spaces, and then going 3 rows up, so that would be 1 2 3, or actually we'll do it right here. We'll do 1 2 3 of the joins. So 3 joins is about 1.5 inches. And then if you wanted it by solid 2 inches, for every 2 inches, it looks like we're getting almost 2 chain spaces. I'm going to say a chain space and a half for 2 inches across. And then 3.5 up for where we join in single crochets or slip stitches. So the measurement for that, let me measure around my mannequin actually, since she is a solid model and this is not. So I want to say around 22 inches, but just to be safe, I am going to just kind of squish this in half. And the measurement for this is, for the spacing, 7.5 for the mesh work. And then total for, let's do wearable, it is 13. So if we double 13, that's going to be around 26, wrapping around your rib cage and back, counting your bust. So if you need more, you will definitely need to do more rows of these. And it is easy because there is no set amount of rows you need to do. You just need to make sure you do the same amount on each side. And with that being said, we will get started. So the main things we're going to need here beyond a measuring tape is we will also be needing a 4.5mm hook and a 5mm hook. We're going to be starting with the 5mm hook, as the 4.5 is going to be for the top and bottom edging as well as the straps. You're obviously going to need scissors and a darning needle and your yarn as well. You need at least 3 colors. For the flowers or the daisies, I'm going to be using Varsity Gold in Big Twist. And then I'm going to be doing the white in just the Little Twist white, because Little Twist is what I had right now. All my other whites are kind of spoken for in other projects. I haven't been yarn shopping in a while, but I am hoping to very soon. And then this brown, again, is Cafe Latte, but Big Twist does have a very nice pastel-y brown, which I would have much preferred if I had any left right now. I'm not sure what that one's called, but it's similar to the color. I think it's Little Mouse from the Bernat Softy Baby, but Softy Baby is a 3-weight, so unfortunately I can't go and grab that to use this. We're gonna start with our Varsity Gold, and I have these both right here because these work up really fast, especially the center one. So we're gonna be starting with this motif right here, and they will be referred to as motifs. We're gonna be starting with this one, and then we will work into it as we work our larger motif. I also forgot to mention, I don't use them because I'm pretty good at keeping track. You are going to need 4 stitch markers towards the end of this to kind of determine where you're going to be sewing your straps on if you choose not to omit them. So with row 1, we're going to start with the small flower motif. Alright, so row 1 for the flower motif, we are going to make our magic ring. Into that magic ring, we're going to half double crochet 8. So chain 1, I like to make that chain smaller because I don't want it up too high. And then we're going to do our 8 half double crochet. And I'm very terrible at using these hooks. My good hooks are all in other projects right now. Alright, so now we are going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet made, and that will be 8 stitches total. And we are going to cut our yarn. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to join white. It doesn't matter which stitch you do this in. So I'm just going to go right into this first half double crochet after making my magic loop. My slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then you are going to double crochet into that same stitch. Then you are going to treble crochet, so you wrap around twice for a treble. And then we are going to double crochet again into that space. Then we're going to chain 2 one more time, and we're going to slip stitch back into that same space. And then we slip stitch into the next stitch. And we are going to do this all the way around. So again, it's chain 2, a double crochet, a treble crochet, which is yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So these are all US terms, if that wasn't clear by now. I'm going to do one more double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch back into that same stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 2, double crochet, triple crochet or treble crochet, a double crochet, and then one more chain 2, slip stitch back into that same space. And last time, slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, treble crochet into the same space, double crochet into the same space, chain 2, and slip stitch back into the same space. And that is going to be the same for the rest. Definitely make sure you're not accidentally working over your next stitch. You should have a total of 8 petals by the time you are done. Alright, so I just finished the last petal, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the same space that we started in. And then to really secure that, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving a tail to sew in my end. Alright, so the next row, we are going to be using our main color here. So this one goes really fast. This small motif doesn't take much time at all. And we're going to join into the treble crochet or center stitch of any flower petal. And stitch count doesn't matter here as long as you have all 8 petals. And so I like to count that join there as my first chain. So we are going to chain 4 more for a total of chain 5. And then we are going to slip stitch into the top of the next treble on the next petal. And then we are going to chain 3. Slip stitch into the next petal, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So you're going to have 4 of chain 5 and 4 of chain 3, and these chain 5s are going to count as our corner spaces. So we are going to chain 5 again, slip stitch into the next space, and then we're going to chain 3, slip stitch into the next treble, chain 5, slip stitch into the next treble, chain 3, slip stitch into the next treble, and last ones, chain 5, slip stitch into the next treble, chain 3, and slip stitch back into the first one we worked in. And that is it for this one. Chain 1 more before you cut your yarn. And that is the first motif right here. Very easy, very simple. I'm sorry if at any point I leave screen on accident. I will have text up above that will be putting the pattern out, and I'm sure someone at some point would probably copy that and put it in the comments. I will be selling a PDF version of this soon. Once I'm done recording all these video tutorials, I want these posted first. You can then go to my website and purchase the PDF. I do have an Etsy and my own storefront. Patterns and completed objects and tools and all that stuff will be on my website for cheaper than you will find them on my Etsy. And if you're wondering where I got the inspiration for this, I like to scroll through Pinterest, and sometimes I see AI that I would look at and be like, I kind of wish this was real, and I'll just kind of play around until I find something that works. And so this actually was inspired by an AI made dress, so I'm just kind of turning AI that gets your hopes up into workable patterns. Really quick, I do have a Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I have a TikTok. I'm not that great at posting on it, and I do have a slow form content vlog on a separate YouTube account where you can just kind of see what I've done in a month summed up into one video. It's no talking, just kind of like videos, me working on certain crafts that I may not show, as well as just some calm music. for the large motif, we're gonna make two, but they're both gonna be worked onto this same smaller motif. So this is kind of starting the same way, but since it has 3 rows to make the flower itself, we are starting in white, so the center is white. So we are gonna again start with a magic ring, and we are going to half double crochet 8 into that ring. This yarn does split a lot. Probably why I don't buy it anymore and why it's lasted so long in my stash. I'm not the biggest fan of Little Twist. 7. I'm trying not to work these too tight, but I don't want them too loose either. Just making sure I have 8. Slipping into that first half double crochet made and cutting. This top will have a lot of ends. I do recommend once we get all 3 of the main motifs together to just take a break and weave in all of your ends, just so you're not overwhelmed and pushing them all out of your way. Now we are going to go back to our yellow color or whatever color, and we are going to make our slip knot. And we are going to join our gold in any stitch, doesn't matter which one, as long as you have your 8 half double crochet in there. And then we are going to chain 3. Again, I'm counting my join as the first chain, so 1, 2, 3. And we are not counting this as a stitch. We are going to do a treble crochet cluster of 3. And then chain 2 in each stitch. So how you do the cluster of a treble is you still wrap twice, you insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you leave those 2 on and you go to your next treble. So wrap twice, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we have one more, so yarn over twice, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and now you can see we have all 3 of our trebles in there, and we're going to pull through all of those loops left on our hook, and then we are just going to chain 2. I think I might have said chain 1 at first. It's chain 2. So that is a treble crochet cluster of 3 and a chain 2. So we're going to do that again in the next stitch. Alright, so one more time, the treble crochet cluster. We yarn over twice, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over twice, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over twice, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through all 4, and then chain 2. And we're doing this all the way around. Alright, I just chained my last 2 after my final cluster, and we are going to find that first cluster and slip stitch into that. And then we are going to cut our yarn, make sure you leave a tail for weaving in ends. Right, so now we are going to move into the white petals again. Gonna make our slip knot, and we can join in any of these chain 2 spaces that we've made. Sorry, I'm also reading my pattern at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna count that join as my first chain. We're gonna chain one more for a total of chain 2, and then we are going to double crochet, treble crochet, so wrap your yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we are going to do 3 double trebles. So a double treble is just one more wrap, so instead of the 1, 2, we're going to add a third in there. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2 more. So we're going to do 3 of those total. 3 wraps for your double treble. And then we are going to do a regular treble. Then we are going to double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch back into the same space. And we're going to slip stitch into the next chain space, but this time I want you to do it loosely. Do not pull that slip stitch tight because we will be working into it again. And this is where our repeat is going to start. We are going to chain 2. We are going to double crochet, treble crochet, double treble crochet, if I can get it, double treble crochet again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a third double treble, a treble crochet, a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, slip stitch back into that same space, and then loosely slip stitch into the next chain 2 space. And we will be repeating this all the way around. So I just finished my last petal, and just like before, I'm going to slip stitch into the first space we worked in, and then to really secure that in there, I'm going to chain 1, and then I am going to cut my yarn. And just double check you have 8, so 4 and 4, all 8 petals. And I am working in a looser gauge than I did with my first top, I'm noticing. This does appear a little bit bigger, only slightly, compared to my other one. We are now going to go back to the main body color we have decided to use, and we are going to make our slip knot. Let me pull up my pattern. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is make our slip knot in the main color, and we are going to join in the center of any petal on the middle double treble. So mine is right here at the tip of my flower petal, and I'm going to count the join as my first chain. So that's 1 chain, chain 2 more for a total of chain 3. And next we are going to treble crochet into that slip stitch down between our petals. So yarn over twice, and we're going to go into that slip stitch that we slipped loosely and work our treble crochet. Sorry about that, I forgot to mute my phone. And then we are going to chain 3 again and slip stitch into the middle double treble on the next petal. So the middle of 3. And then we are just going to repeat this all the way around. So we're chain 3. Sorry, I keep getting interruptions on my phone and such. We're going to chain 3, treble in the slip stitch between the petals. 1, 2. Then we're going to chain 3, slip stitch in the next center double treble on the next petal. Chain 3, treble in the next slip stitch, and we're just going to do this all the way around. Right, and now I'm slip stitching into that last, or the first space I worked into, and you can see I've worked between every single petal now. This is definitely working up larger than my first sample. Again, my tension does vary day to day. So I guess a tighter tension gets you the first results, a looser tension gets you this, but also this yarn just tends to be slightly thicker than big twist yarns tend to be, so I feel like this one's more accurate if you choose to use I love this yarn, which I would rather do. It looks like I just actually missed one, so I'm gonna go back and fix that and we will progress to the next row. All right, now that I've fixed that, we're moving on to row 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 5, we are going to slip stitch into this first chain 3 space right here, and we are going to chain 2, and it does not count as a stitch. We are going to double crochet 2, and then half double crochet 2, all in this same space. And then we are going to single crochet 4 into the next space. And then into the next space we are going to half double crochet 2. And then we are going to double crochet 2 into that same stitch. So these are the 3 spaces that we're going to be counting as one flat side. So 2 double crochet, 2 half double in one, 4 single, and then we are 2 half double, then 2 double in the third. And then the fourth one is going to be our corner space. So in the corner space we are going to double crochet 2, chain 2, sorry, just getting more yarn out, and then we are going to double crochet 2 more. And that is going to be our corner there. Alright, so the next part we do is going to be joining the smaller motif. This is where it gets tricky, and I will probably be pausing so I can take photos of this for the PDF pattern, even though I don't want to rely too heavily on photos since it would be a lot of photos, but this feels like a necessary part. So from here, after we've done the last 2 double crochet in the corner space, we're going to chain 2, and we are going to slip stitch into this next space. Now remember, we have 3 spaces that we use for one side of this motif. We are going to slip stitch into the first one, which is the next space. And then from here we are going to chain 2, and we are going to grab our small motif. And remember, the chain 5s are the corner and the chain 3 are the middle. So we are going to slip stitch into a chain 5 corner of the small motif. So it's connected like this now. We're going to chain 2, and then I'm probably going to do that one a little looser. And then we will slip stitch into the next space on the large motif. So you can see here, we went from the corner, we chained 2 and slip stitch into here, we chained 2, went into this corner, chained 2 and went into the next space on the larger motif. Now we are going to chain 2, slip stitch into the middle of the small motif, so the chain 3 that is to the left of the chain 5 we just went in, chain 2, and we are going to slip stitch back into the same spot on the large motif and chain 2, and then we are going to slip stitch into the left corner of our small motif, chain 2, and then we are going to slip stitch into the next space on the large motif. So it looks like this. Let me see if I can spread this out more easily for you. I don't know if I can zoom in any more than this. Maybe I can edit the video to make it more zoomed in. So you can see here we have the 3 spaces that are meant to be the one flat side and the corner, and this will be our next corner right here. And you can see it went from, we're going to call these 3 side spaces. So side space 1 to the motif corner on the small one, and then we went to the middle or second space on the side of the large motif, into the center of the small motif, back into the center of the 3 side holes, and then we went into the next corner of the small one, and then into the 3rd side space on the large motif. If you need to rewatch that again, go ahead. I'm gonna undo this so I can take photos, and I'll actually show you one more time just in case. Alright, so I went back to the chain 2 right after the last chain 2 in our corner, and one more time we're gonna slip stitch into the next space and chain 2. Oops, if I can not drop it. And now we are going to take our small motif and we are going to slip stitch into the corner chain 5 space, and we are going to chain 2, and now we are going to slip stitch into the next space on the large motif and chain 2. We are now going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space of the small motif. And now we are going to slip stitch back into the same space on the large motif and chain 2. So you can see we have now slipped into the second space on the large motif twice. And we've done our chain 2 here, and we are going to slip stitch into the next corner on the small motif and chain 2. And now we will slip stitch into the next space on the large motif, and we will chain 2 again. And that brings us to the same chain 2 that's right here. So in the next space on the large motif, we will double crochet 2, chain 2, and double crochet 2 more. In the next space, we will double crochet 2, and then half double crochet 2, and then we will single crochet 4 in the next space, then we will half double crochet 2 in the next space, half double crochet 2 in the, or double crochet 2 in the same space, sorry. And then in the next space we will do our corner again, so it will be 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. And then we will repeat it one more time. Starting in the next stitch, we will double crochet 2, or the next space, not next stitch. Half double crochet 2, single crochet 4 in the next space, half double crochet 2 in the next space, and then double crochet 2 in the same space. And then this will be our last corner, and it's the last space we have to work in. It will be the double crochet 2, chain 2, double crochet 2. And then we will slip stitch into the first double crochet made on this row. And from here, since we have to do another one, we can cut our yarn. So now you are just going to start the large motif again and then join on the other side. So you will turn it and join to this side of the small motif and then finish off our row just like the first one, and then I will meet you back here. Alright, so I finished my second large motif, and you can see I joined into the first double crochet made again, and then I cut my yarn. So this next row, we can pick any side we want. It's going to be on the left or right. And I did not weave in any ends yet. I'm probably going to do that in the jump from part 1 to part 2 because it is hot in here. I can only withstand the AC being off for so long. It's getting past the 80s today in Fahrenheit. So we're just going to do the, what's it called? The chain mesh or lace that comes off the side, and then I might end it there, or maybe we'll do that as well as the top. Who knows, maybe I'll just record half today and half tomorrow and just post it as one video. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make another slip knot, and we are going to join into the corner to the right. So again, this is the center, this is the side that's going to wrap around your rib cage. We're going to join in the right corner. So just do that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to skip these first 2 double crochet. Make sure I'm zoomed in. We're going to skip the first 2 double crochet here. And we are going to be working in the front loops only. So in this 3rd stitch here in the front loop, so we're skipping 1, 2, we're going to the 3rd one, and we're going to half double crochet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to skip this next stitch here, and then we are going to single crochet into the one after in the front loop. Okay, just making sure I only went in the front loop. And then we are going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to put 5 half double crochet into the front loop of the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, I went in the next one on that, my bad. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Skip the next stitch and single crochet in the front loop of the next. Skip 1 and then 5 half double crochet in the next. Skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next. And then we're gonna hold on, this isn't okay, yep. And then we are going to skip 1 stitch, and we are going to put 5 half double crochet in the front loop of the next. Sorry, my phone screen wants to turn off on me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we are going to skip that last double crochet there and slip stitch into the corner space. So the next thing you're going to do is cut your yarn, and we're going to repeat this on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to choose this side to work into now, and we are going to start by working into the very first double crochet on the back loop, because you see we skipped 2. So we slip stitch into the back loop of the first double crochet here, and we're going to chain 4. I count that join as 1, so 2, 3, 4. And if you want this to be tighter, if you want this section here to hug your rib cage a little bit tighter, I would downsize to your 4.5 hook now. I'm going to stick with this one because I do want this brown top to be slightly looser than the pink one, so I have different options for sale on my shop for physical products. But yeah, so we chained 4, we're going to skip 1, and then into the back loop of the first cluster of 5, we are going to slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 4. We are going to skip 1 and into the back loop of the single crochet, or not the single crochet, but the back loop we skipped when making our single crochet. We're going to slip stitch, chain 4, skip 1, and then slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1 and slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1 and slip stitch. And this is the last one I worked into on this side. And we should have a total of 7 chain spaces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's exactly what we want. So for row 8, we are going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are going to turn our work and slip stitch into this first chain space here. And then we are going to chain 4 and slip stitch into the next chain space, and we're going to do this until we've slip stitched into the last chain space here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch into that last space. And that should leave us with 7 spaces again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For what I did with the pink top, you repeat that row 8 times, or 14 times. You repeat row 8 14 times. If you wanted or needed the part that wraps around your rib cage to be longer, definitely go ahead and make it longer. I gave you the measurements at the beginning of the video, and remember in the back for the pink one, it's like this far, because you can see here. So you're gonna want to end maybe an inch or half an inch, because right here, these are the bumps from the last row of this, and then it comes out a little more, and you can see here there's a space. So maybe measure an inch, 2 inch. I would say measure 2 inches from your back. So measure from where the front of your piece is sitting after you hold it up to your breast. Measure from where this edge is out to about 2 inches from the center of your back. That way you can kind of get a good measurement. But I think it's safer to maybe do a little less than what you think you need. Remember, with blocking, yarn does tend to stretch a little bit, but also when you have the lace in the back, the lace just shows better when it's spread out like this. So definitely make sure you measure, because you want this in total to measure the circumference around your rib cage and your breast, because this is going more towards your upper back. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're just going to repeat row 8 13 more times, because we just did it once and we want to do it 14 times total. So I'll go over row 8 one more time with you. We're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn our work, slip stitch into that very first space, chain 4, slip stitch into the next space, chain 4, my freezer's making a really weird sound, slip stitch into the next space, 4, oops, slip stitch into the next space, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain, slip into the next space, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain, slip into the next space, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain, slip stitch into the next space. So keep going until you have a total of 14 rows. And the way you would count that is exclude the first row coming off here, and we're going to count each bump. So 1, 2, and so on until you reach 14 of them, and then I will meet you back here. Alright, so you can see here that I finished all 14 of my rows, and that gives us 15 chain rows total because we didn't count the first one here. And you should be ending, once you end your 14th row of row 8, your front side should be facing you. And so from there we're going to chain 1 and turn so that your wrong side is facing you. Next we are going to slip stitch up 2, so 1, 2. That way we're kind of in the center of the last chain space that we worked. And now we are going to chain 4, slip stitch into the next space, chain 4, slip stitch into the next space, and we're going to do this to the end. And this is just going to decrease by 1 of the chain spaces from 7 to 6. Alright, so we should have 6 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. And now we are going to chain 1 again and turn. And we are going to put 3 single crochet into each chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you should have 18 single crochet total now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And now we are going to chain 1 and turn, but first I'm actually gonna, this isn't part of the pattern, but I'm just gonna slip stitch in there just to tighten that up a little bit. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. And then from here we will do 2 single crochet, chain 2, skip 2. So we're gonna do 1, 2, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet 2, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet 2, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet 2, chain 2, skip 2, and then single crochet into the last one. And then I think like the last side, I'm just gonna slip stitch into this side a little bit just to tighten that up a tiny bit. I single crocheted 1, so I did kind of miss that last stitch, so I don't need to slip anywhere. Just don't miss that last stitch. We're ending with 2 single crochet. Now we're gonna chain 1, and we're gonna turn our work, and then we are going to single crochet 2, and then we're gonna single crochet 2 into that chain space, single crochet 2, single crochet 2 into the chain space, and we're just gonna repeat like this the full way along. And again, that should be 18 stitches total. And you can see we ended with the right side facing us. And now we are just going to chain one extra to kind of lock that down and cut our yarn. And then we are just going to repeat this on the next side. So we got one side, now we're going to repeat that on the next side. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to repeat that on this side, weave in my ends, and then I will either come back later if I have enough time left in my day before my son comes home, and we can go over the top edging rows, or I will come back tomorrow and we will pick up from there. But for you, that'll be just seconds. All right, on to side 2.